I've confronted hundreds of men over 2 decades. Men online looking for children to sexually assault.
Well, Cody, I'm Chris Hansen.
I know who you are.
I tried to get into their heads and understand why. But you have it on your phone.
That's true.
And ultimately, make sure they face justice.
Can I just give you some money and leave?
I don't want money. I want the truth.
These are the predators I've caught. I'm Chris Hansen. We just finished night 1 of another predator sting, a takedown predator sting in Blount County, Alabama. You've seen some of the previous episodes. And I'm speaking to you from my hotel in Alabama after working late last night. I can tell you all about this because you won't hear it or see it until the sting is over. But once again, we have decoys in a house, chatting with men who will travel great distances to exploit a child. It's also interesting that this is all happening as Congress and Senate voted to release all of the Epstein files. I'm very mindful of that, and I get a lot of comments from people who want me to investigate Epstein, to do something about the Epstein files. And as we speak, I'm working on booking interviews with some of the survivors of the Epstein tragedy. And we expect to have announcements on those interviews, which will appear, at least initially, on my other podcast, Have a Seat with Chris Hansen. And we've gotten some commitments. I think it's way overdue that these files are released, and I'm quite mystified, actually, as to why it's taken so long. There needs to be transparency here. And I also want to know, and we'll be talking about this in the episodes, why Ghislaine Maxwell is getting such apparent preferential treatment. I mean, is that the way we treat human traffickers? Shouldn't they be dealt with as people who've committed amongst the most outrageous, horrifying crimes in society? I think so. I mean, obviously, she's not a risk of escape, I wouldn't think, but, this isn't a Martha Stewart case either. It's not worthy of a country club federal prison sentence setting. So we'll keep you posted on that. We are also, except for one single shoot, very close to finishing our investigation into Roblox and predators exploiting the platform. The stories I have heard over the last several weeks, months, during our investigation, the interviews, are absolutely shocking, breathtaking, and compelling. I sat down last week with a man who's 29 years old, who was victimized 15 years ago, patient zero in our telling of the story. A big, strong, former Marine. He can deadlift 716 pounds. He was abused as a child on Roblox. And his is an important story to hear. That'll be a part of that documentary. But for this episode of Predators I've Caught, I wanted to take a look at a case from our very first investigation in Polk County, Florida. John Wesley Hunter, screen name Getter Did 6869. Now, John definitely wanted to get or did in this particular case. This was in September of 2022, 3 years ago, and I have an update on what's happened to John Wesley Hunter since then. I find it ironic that John Wesley was the founder of the Methodist Church, a religious man, and John Wesley Hunter was anything but God-fearing and religious on this particular day. Because our John, get or did 6869, showed up in a chat room, a platform, a forum that was labeled Family Fun. And this got John Wesley's interest. He wanted some family fun, all right, but the family fun that he wanted was with a 14-year-old girl who was being sold, exploited, sexually pimped out by her stepmother. Now, these were actually detectives with the Polk County Sheriff's Office. But as far as John knew, this was a dream come true for him. He was going to have sex with a 14-year-old and potentially the mother of the 14-year-old. And this turned him on. Here's the chat with Get or Did 6869. Family fun? Not sure what you mean. Having fun with my daughter, mainly. How old is your daughter? She's 14 and loves family time. That's awesome, says John Wesley Hunter. What do y'all like doing? Just about anything. What would you like to do? Anything that is fun, says John. She agrees. Her name is Ginny. Nice. You have any more pics? Text me and I'll send you one of Ginny if you want. She gives the number. What about you? You can see me on here in my profile pic. Okay. Nice. Thank you. Ginny said you're really cute. She loves the cowboy hat. Now, Get or Did, John Wesley advertises himself as a traveling cowboy and mechanic. Now, ironically, and this is something that I found very interesting, John Wesley Hunter worked for an auto mechanic dealership that had a contract with the Polk County Sheriff's Office to work on its vehicles. So there was a good chance that the guy caught in this sting was actually working on Sheriff's Office vehicles. Vehicles used maybe even in the sting, but certainly for the Sheriff's Office official duties. She's sitting right next to me, says the stepmom, foster mom, reading the messages. Nice, says John. How long you been in Kane City? What's your name? John, he says. And yours? Hi, John. This is Ginny. She introduces herself. My mom is Dee. Hope you have great family fun. Thank you. Me too. How are you doing tonight? You're very welcome. I'm okay. You're cute. I love the cowboy hat. Are you a cowboy? Thank you. I'm just a country boy, says John. Enjoy the outdoors and have lots of fun. So what kind of fun are you talking? Is it XXX fun or something else? He thinks the mom and daughter have run off, but they just got busy doing something else. A little more back and forth, but ultimately they get down to business. So there's talk about exactly how this is going to work. He says it would be his first time, but would take you both. You want my mom too? Both of you, he says. Mom gets on. You're saying you want a threesome, she says? That would be the first, he says. You don't want just me and you don't want just Ginny, but you want us both, the decoy confirms. Conversation continues the next day. Ginny is hot, says John. But would Ginny be okay with me being older and average? Sweet dreams to you both. Now, John Wesley Hunter knows the girl's 14. And John wants to see more pictures of the girl. She sends a pic. Very nice, he said. And he sends a photograph of himself. So your mom is okay with you being naughty? She is. I know it may seem weird, but she cares about me so much she does this to make sure I'm safe. Smiley face emoji. It is weird, and that's why I want to see all her sexiness to let me know it's all good. And of course yours also. He wants to see all her sexiness. So I really want to have fun, he says. So you're not thinking something else? What are you thinking then? What do you mean? I asked earlier if it was XXX or something else. He wants to know if, while he was having sex with the girl, the mom would be naked while she was watching. There's a phone call. It lasts about 9 minutes. After the phone call, the suspect, John Wesley, sends a text message asking, so tell me what you mean. He's 52, by the way. And the decoy says, that's not old. Well, I'm a teenager and curious about adult stuff. My mom introduced me to adult stuff last year, and it's been a lot of fun, says the decoy. Then John sends a sexually explicit photo of his genitals.
More about this predator I've caught in a moment.
I've survived in television for 45 years now, and I like to think I've weathered it pretty well, but I haven't weathered it without product. And if you're like me, your skin needs extra care this time of year, especially, with air travel. It dries you out. And between colder weather and holiday stress, it can feel like a lot for your system. But that's why I rely on OneSkin. I've been using their OS1 face moisturizer daily, and it's been a game changer for me. Powerful skincare and longevity benefits in just a few steps. At the core of every product is their patented OS1 peptide, the first ingredient proven to target senescent cells, the root cause of wrinkles, crepiness, and loss of elasticity. These results have been validated in 5 clinical studies. OneSkin is known for cult favorites like OS1 Body, OS1 Face, and OS1 Eye, all designed to hydrate, support your skin barrier, and deliver real longevity benefits. This holiday season, OneSkin launched limited edition holiday sets, including the Nightly Rewind gift set. It's the perfect gift, featuring their best-selling face moisturizer, the new peptide lip mask, and a cooling gua sha tool. Each piece works together during your body's natural nightly repair mode to renew skin at the cellular level. For a limited time, try OneSkin for 15% off using code Hansen at oneskin.co/Hansen. That's oneskin.co/Hansen, Hansen. After you purchase, tell them we sent you. There's another phone call. The girl says she can't chat right now. She's in school, but they'll talk later. John Wesley talks about teaching the girl new things, like all kinds of different positions, all kinds of foreplay. Decoy says, sounds good. He says, start with some kissing and touching and a lot of licking and eating. What are you doing this Friday night? He says he was going to work on his airboat, but would rather meet the girl. Still can't believe your fine ass wants to meet me. Of course, she's talking about the girl, not me, who is exactly who he's going to meet. Have you been licked and eaten? No. Have you been taken doggy style? I don't know what that is. You're face down and ass up in the air. Oh, that sounds fun. You ever done the 69? No, I haven't done much, just the regular position. What's 69? You sitting on my face and me licking and eating you while you suck me. Well, that was enough to commit a crime online. And so a meeting is set up. In this particular sting, there were a number of locations where the predator would go to meet the child. There's a mobile home, convenience store, gas station, and a motel. John Wesley set up a meeting to go to the motel. John Wesley Hunter is a big guy, and so the sheriff's deputies and detectives don't take any chances. They order him to the ground.
On the ground, drop your phone.
Get on the ground.
On your ground, drop your phone. Go down!
Get on the ground.
On your stomach. On your stomach.
John's taken back to the sheriff's office substation for further investigation and questioning, and then I get a chance to talk to him. Now, he sees my cameras and thinks he's going to cover his face with his hand. Maybe he's going to tell me he doesn't want to talk. I don't know, but we're about to find out.
Hey, John. How you doing?
No, I ain't done him.
John.
Initially, John doesn't appear all that willing to be on camera, but I keep asking questions, and John keeps answering the questions.
Tell me how you got in this situation tonight.
I was stupid. Y'all can go on with the cameras, right?
Well, John, I'm Chris Hansen, and I do stories on fellows who try to meet children for sex.
No, I wasn't trying to
Predators.
meet. I wasn't trying to meet anyone.
John claims he wasn't actually trying to meet a child for sex. Just a bunch of talk, which he admits doesn't look good.
Yeah, but John, the text of your conversation,
I wrote all kinds of stuff. I'm not gonna lie.
you did.
I
But
wrote
what am
all
I to
kinds
make of
of
that?
stuff. I wrote all kinds of stuff because when I was first told on a site last night
Right,
about a 14-year-old girl,
right.
that hit hard. I got $6 in sale.
Wait, John Wesley Hunter has 6 daughters himself. He says it hit him hard when he heard that a 14-year-old girl was being offered for sex. Not hard enough. You heard the chats. I think we know what John Wesley Hunter was looking for.
You have 6 daughters
I
yourself.
got $6.
How old are your daughters,
But
John?
then when I was told
How old are your
it was
daughters?
14, they're all grown.
They're all grown.
So then when I was told it was 14, I was like, this is messed up. So
Right.
I fed into it and I fed into it. I was wrong.
Right.
I was wrong. I
Why
fed
did you
into
feed
it.
into it, John?
Why did I feed into
Yeah,
it? To see how far it would go and if I could meet her.
you can meet her,
Not the kid, the mom.
the mom.
Because if it was true, I wouldn't be the one in the cuffs right now. She would.
Right.
John says he wanted to meet the mom, infers that if she was, willing to have sex, maybe he'd consider it. But if he found out that, in fact, she was pimping or offering her 14-year-old daughter for sex, that he was going to intervene, rescue the girl, that the mom would be the one in cuffs right now.
So you were a do-gooder here.
Well, I'm just saying a kid shouldn't have to go through that.
Right.
No kid should have to go through that.
It's an excuse I've heard all too many times, that he was just coming to save the girl. But yet, like all the others, he didn't call the authorities.
But you see how this looks in the
Well,
chats.
I know.
here.
I see how it looks.
It looks like
And I
you wanted
was-
to take her
it's-
through it.
It's like I was telling a young lady outside. Yeah, I need to make better decisions and be
Right.
smarter at doing stuff. Because as far as a detective, you can see I suck at a detective work.
Right.
So-
you suck at detective work.
Right.
John says he's not a great detective, and that's how he ended up with this whole fix. That's because you're not a detective, John. You're a guy who was looking to have sex with a child and maybe her mother.
But
So-
here's the thing, John. Why didn't you just call 911?
And
Or,
it's like she said, I should have. I really
right.
should
Does
have.
that make more sense?
It makes a lot
You
more
could have
sense.
called the sheriffs and said, hey, look, there's a mom
But-
trying to
but the
pimp
way
out
it
her
all
14-year-old
started-
daughter.
The way it all started on the adult side, I didn't
Right.
think they would believe.
Now, John says he was on an adult site. Didn't anticipate that a real child would be there, too. But you heard the chats. He didn't seem that concerned at the time. And, as I always ask these guys, if you were so concerned, why didn't you call 911?
That's- To be honest.
I know, but if you're an honest fellow, why don't you just call
But
the sheriffs?
True.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I agree with that.
Because this chat does not look good, John.
No, it don't look good. And it's like I told them a while ago. I mean, I put stuff in there I should have never even put.
I want to know what John has to say specifically about some of the things he brought up online.
Have you been in? No.
I mean, I put all
I
kinds
want
of stuff
to.
in there.
Have you been taken doggy style? I don't know what that is, she
But
says.
in the same sentence.
You're face down and up in the air.
You ain't listening.
Well, I'm listening now, but you got to listen to me too.
And in the same sentence, that whole thing right there is the
Mhm.
same person. It's not Jen. It's the same person.
But the
That's what
person
I'm thinking.
who's portrayed here is a 14-year-old girl.
Right, that's who it's supposed to be.
Right.
But the whole time it's really
So
not
you're
her.
saying you think it's
I
somebody
think
else?
it's D.
The mom.
But remember, he asked Ginny, the decoy posing as the 14-year-old girl, is mom okay with you being naughty? What does that mean?
But she told you she was 14, and she told you it was Ginny.
Right.
She talks about going to
But
school.
that's-
She talks about not having experience.
But
You
that's-
talk about being naughty and
but
sending
that's-
naughty texts.
To me, that's still D. That's the same D.
Right, but it's laid out pretty clearly here that it's Ginny
Right.
who says she's
Yeah,
14.
right. But
So did you just
pretty-
get confused?
pretty clearly, well, I mean, to start with, I was confused because it was D, and then it was Jenny, and then it was D, then it was Jenny.
For a guy who initially said he didn't want to talk, he's giving me a very long story, and he's sticking to it, in spite of the evidence to the contrary.
So all of them is not Jenny or D,
Right.
honestly. When it
I
comes
understand
down
that,
to
but
it.
if you talk to somebody who
But-
says they're 14, you're supposed to
But
call
you're
the
right,
police or
you're
stop
right,
the
you're
conversation.
right,
You're
you're
not
right.
supposed to get in your
And
car.
they're right.
Right.
I mean, that's the reason I told them.
You're in a jam right now,
I told them
John.
specifically
Right.
that thank God that y'all wasn't calls,
Glad he agrees with our work here.
because I'd have been calling calls.
Right.
That's why I
But you
kept
didn't
messaging
call
her.
the
I know.
cops.
That's why I kept messaging on my phone. If y'all wanted to look at it,
Right.
I told her 5 or 6 times the cops was going to be swarming.
I haven't even gotten a pic yet. I don't do that. I'm sorry. I'll let you take a pic when you're here if you want.
We
though.
don't want to all know.
Now, John doesn't want to get into all that. He knows what he said. And he knows he said it to somebody who told him they were 14 years old.
Mhm. Right, but it's significant because you talk about performing oral sex on a 14-year-old. They ask if she's
But
had
it's not
doggy
a
style.
14-year-old. It's D.
I know, but she says she's 14, and it's
But
clear
it's
in the
D.
transcripts that it's
But it's
Ginny.
D.
Okay, now you
But
should
it's
know
D.
by now.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's-
It's D.
That's what you say now.
It's D.
All right, John.
It's D.
But I'm looking at the transcript,
I
right?
understand that.
And it makes it pretty clear that you go
understand that.
back and forth. There's all the
Back and
sex
forth,
talk.
Back and forth, back and
You're
forth, back
working
and
on the
forth.
mom to introduce you to the girl. Then you're chatting with the girl. And then there's sex talk, and there's 69 and doggy style, and you talk about her and oral sex.
That's
And
not
then you
4
show
times I
up.
said that. That's how I paid it. 4 times I said that.
Right. But again, chat is chat, but showing up is showing up, John.
Yeah, but I wouldn't.
You drove over to the hotel.
The last phone call, if y'all was on that phone call, y'all would have heard me say, "Well, I'm not coming,"
But you came.
but I still went.
This confuses me a little bit. John says he made a phone call that he wasn't coming, and there were phone calls. We talked about that. But he showed up. He was walking down, and you saw this. He was walking down the hallway of the hotel looking for the room where he thought a 14-year-old girl was with her mom, available for sex. And that's when the sheriff's office nabbed him.
If what you've heard shocks you so far, join us back in a moment.
If you're a homeowner in America, you need to listen to this. The FBI has been warning about a type of real estate fraud on the rise called title theft, and your equity is the target. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on a single document, use a fake notary stamp, and file it with the county. And just like that, on record, they own your home. Using your ownership, they can take out loans against your equity or even sell your property, and you won't even know about it until foreclosures or collection notices show up in the mail. That's why I partnered with Home Title Lock, so you can protect your equity and find out today if you're already a victim. Use my promo code Hansen, Hansen, at HometitleLock.com, and you'll get a free title history report and a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title records, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud occurs, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix it. Don't be a victim. Protect your equity today. That's HomeTitleLock.com, promo code Hansen, Hansen, or click the link below.
It's finally here.
Oh my God.
The official Chris Hansen merch store. Now you can join the mission with official Chris Hansen merchandise, hoodies, tees, mugs, stickers, and more. Shop the full collection at haveaseat.dashery.com.
Right.
Because you said, I said, you're not the cops, this and that, this and that.
Right, but that makes it sound like you're worried about getting busted,
If she
John.
would have said she was the cops, I'd have been like, okay.
Well, yeah, of course. If she said she was the cops, that's not how it works.
None of this is true.
None of this is true. It sure is, John. We saw the transcripts. We saw what you did. It's all true. And we recorded it in real time. And this business about you asking if it's the cops, that only indicates you're worried about your illegal activities. Otherwise, you would have said, okay, if this is the cops, what are you doing here? I'm just trying to make sure nobody gets hurt. That's not what you said. You pursued a sexual encounter with a child, John. Come on, John. The chats never lie.
So, anyway.
It's true enough.
Yeah, it's true enough. I'm in handcuffs now. I'm not a hero. I didn't get to save.
No, you didn't.
I didn't get no.
So, John, here's a question for you. Are you ready for the question? If the sheriffs hadn't been there, if I hadn't been there, my camera crew hadn't been there, and a 14-year-old girl had been there, and you walked in,
no, I wouldn't have walked in.
What would have happened?
But I wasn't going to.
You were on your way down the hallway when they made you get down on the ground.
Yeah, when I knocked on the door, if y'all was cameramen were watching, I went away from the door after I knocked.
You showed up at the hotel.
I did.
Right, and that looks
that was
dirty
stupid.
and illegal and predator-like and everything else.
That was stupid.
You see how that looks?
I see how
it looks like you're a creepy predator trying to have sex with a 14-year-old girl. That's how it looks.
I see how it looks.
Right?
I see.
And you haven't told me anything that changes my mind about this, John.
I can't change it. I mean, I'm thinking I'm gonna save a 14-year-old because I got 6 girls myself.
You got 6 girls yourself. What would you do, John?
If I was the one.
If one of your girls was getting hit upon by a much older man.
Exactly.
Who talked about doggy style and 69 and oral sex.
They said, and
well, how would you feel? Would you believe that fellow?
I got to agree with him. That wasn't the right things to be doing. But
right.
I was just trying to keep it feeding and keep it feeding and keep it, but it didn't.
It sounds like you're trying to keep it feeding so you can go feed on a 14-year-old girl now.
Oh my God. All right, I'm done.
All right.
I ain't,
anything else you want to say?
No, I'm going to say that was messed up.
That was messed up, says John. Well, how messed up would it be had there really been a 14-year-old girl and a mother willing to sell her? That was messed up. Sure was, John. Talk about messed up. What would have happened if there had been a 14-year-old girl exploited by her mom? That would have been messed up. John was charged with several felonies related to his activities that night. Ultimately, he pleaded guilty, traveling to meet a minor and lewd and lascivious battery of a minor. John agreed to accept a sentence of 3.5 years in prison, which is exactly where he sits today, as of this episode. His release date is February of 2027. When he gets out, he will be on probation and he will be a registered sex offender. As always, we wanted to know more about John's background, and that's one of the reasons why we partnered with Truthfinder. Truthfinder allows you to find out many important things about people in your life, people who may be trying to get into your life. And I use it all the time during our stings because it allows me to have better insight into who's about to walk in the door of the sting house. It's an invaluable tool. So when we ran John Wesley Hunter through Truthfinder, We found out that he had been dusted up a few times prior to this. In fact, he was charged with battery in 1992, not paying child support right there in Polk County, where he was busted in driving a vehicle with a suspended license. And now, as I said, he sits in prison, at least until February of 2027. TruthFinder works for me and my team, and it can work for you. For more information on TruthFinder, go to truthfinder.com/predators.
More of our story in a moment.
As you know, I like to hear from you. And this week's question comes from a detective in one of the biggest police forces in England. He's a sex offender manager, so we're going to keep his identity anonymous. Before he asks my question, I just wanted to give you an observation. Nearly every predator you've caught always asks if this is a sting or a setup. I always find this amusing, as if your decoy is going to say, "Yes, you got me. Have a good day." I know there's this myth that if a person asks if you're an undercover police officer, you must tell them. But as we all know, it's a myth, and that's true. And I find it interesting. I think it dates back to the original undercover drug stings. And there was this belief on the part of the drug dealers that if they asked the UC, are you a cop? Are you working with the cop? They had to tell them. And that's not true. It wasn't true then. It's not true now. But this belief persists. My question to you, as one professional to another, is, do you think this behavior will ever stop? Doesn't seem like it, does it? 21 years of doing it, almost 22. As you have said on numerous occasions, and I have seen firsthand, these predators are not stupid. They are calculated, intelligent, and manipulative. They are people who are addicted to this behavior. In my view, I think there's only one way to stop this behavior, and that is stronger punishments through the judiciary system. In both England and the US, the punishment is pretty severe for these types of offenses, and after sentences are served, predators are monitored by police. But in my experience, this still does not stop predators from reoffending. Apart from locking these people away from society indefinitely, I cannot see a way for this behavior to stop, and I was wondering what your views are. Keep up the good work. I absolutely love True Blue, and if you're ever interested in reaching out and comparing notes on how the British police handle these investigations and the management of predators, I would be honored to talk to you. Well, I'm going to take you up on that, for sure. Punishment. This is something I wrestle with all the time. And I agree, there's a certain segment of the predator population that will never stop. They will always try to get a hold of child pornography. They will always try to find ways to reoffend. Their fantasies will not go away. The challenge for us, for law enforcement, for society, is to figure out which predators can go through therapy, can be punished, can be monitored, and not offend again. And there is no exact science for this, and it's frustrating. I think there are some of the younger guys, and I've seen them, who can be rehabilitated and not offend again. And I hear from those people all the time. I'd like to have them on the show. But as you can imagine, they're very wary of making their situations public. But I do think at least 50% or more are incorrigible. They're going to do this no matter what. And those men need severe sentences. They need close monitoring if they get out. And obviously the sex offender registry is very helpful. We know where these guys are. The problem is, in some urban areas that are overwhelmed by crime, the prosecutor's office is overwhelmed as well. And if they've got a dozen homicide cases that need to be prosecuted and a guy who came through their office on a sting operation, they're likely to take or offer a plea bargain. No physical victim, in this case at least. There might be others. There could be more in the future. But they caught the guy. He's got to go on probation. He's got to register. They know where he is. If he does anything wrong or untoward in the future, they can violate him and put him away for a very long time. I understand that. But I'm starting to believe that there is a place for the death penalty for severe child predator cases. for two reasons. One, in some cases, it's deserved. And two, it is a very strong prosecutorial tool. If you've got the death penalty you can hang over somebody's head, you can get them to take a lengthy prison sentence to avoid it. And that's just reality. In Louisiana, they have castration. Think about that for a minute. And I've talked to some judges who've handed it out and believe in severe cases, it represents justice. I'm not so sure I disagree. Think about that. We'll continue to wrestle with this question as we move through, but I don't see, based on my 21, almost 22 years experience investigating predators, working side by side with law enforcement, that this problem is going away anytime ever. And we will keep on it. Thanks for checking in, and keep up the great work in the UK. You can find me all over social media at Chris Hansen on X, official Chris Hansen on Instagram. Have a Seat with Chris Hansen on TikTok. Lots of videos there. Seem to be pretty popular, even the silly ones I do with my wife. And as always, on my streaming crime network, True Blue, TRUBLU, watch trueblue.com for details. New predator investigations, takedown episodes drop every single Thursday. Almost 200 of them are out now. Check them out. Watch trueblue.com, as I said. And as always, you can find me right here at Chris at predatorpodcast.com. I'll be watching and listening.